11 hour, I decided to change the topic for the day. And what I'm talking about is aging and illness. About 3 o'clock today, I decided I was going to do this because I was in pain. I got these darn kidney stones kicking my behind, so forth, so on. About 2 years ago, I reunited with some of my high school classmates for our 40th class reunion. After the initial meet and greet, our conversation turned somewhat morbid because we were talking about those people in our class that passed on. What's funny is when I was talking to my classmates, I could remember sitting in a trigonometry class back in 76 or 77 and thinking and verbalizing out loud, in the year 2000, I'll be 40 years old. I never contemplated turning 50 or 60. That's wild. After losing my cousin Cliff back in August, I found myself contemplating my own mortality. And truth be told, I was suffering from some survivor's remorse. Cat was only 2 months younger than me, and, we were more like brothers than like cousins. So anyway, it forced me to look at my own mortality. So turning 60, this is the first time I've even had any inkling of my mortality. I see myself as a superhero who's going to be here forever. There's 6 main illnesses that cause effect to our lives between the ages of 35 and 40, and then we tend to deal with these things for the rest of our lives. What's so funny is, in contemplating my own mortality, I found myself watching, what's it called? Marvel's, The Avengers Endgame. And in the movie, we see some of these superheroes getting old and Captain America passing on. He had to be 278. And Thor getting fat and retiring and Iron Man and so forth and so on. So I laughed because my nickname is the Juggernaut. So if Captain America and what have you, Wolverine and what have you, so what happens to the Juggernaut? So, but I digress. Let's get back to the matter at hand. There's 6 major illnesses that affect most of us, if not all of us, in some shape, form, or fashion. If it's not us, it's somebody that we care about or somebody that's related to us. And those 6 illnesses are heart attack, heart disease, stroke, cerebral vascular accidents or disease, hypertension, congestive obstructive pulmonary disease, diabetes mellitus, and cancer. Let's talk about heart disease. Heart disease or heart attack claims about 610,000 people every year, and is also the leading cause of death in both men and women. Every year, about 735,000 Americans have a heart attack. 525,000 of those people are having their very first heart attack. About 210,000 have had a previous heart attack. Heart attack is an equal opportunity killer in that, according to recent CDC, Centers for Disease Control statistics, it kills equally non-Hispanic blacks and non-Hispanic whites at a rate of 23.8% of the population. Imagine that. Cerebral vascular disease or stroke. According to Science News data and the American Heart Association, every 3.7 minutes someone dies from a stroke. Based on the 216 data, that's over 389.4 strokes daily. If we include all of the deaths associated to cerebral vascular disease, the number balloons to earth-shattering 2,303 deaths a day. That's wild. Can't even wrap my head around that. High blood pressure. According to 2017 American Medical Association statistics, 48% of adults, or 116.4 million adults, have high blood pressure. Now, a caveat is the high blood pressure thresholds have changed. For example, high blood pressure used to be noted as a consistent reading of 140/90 or higher. Now some health organizations start treating patients with blood pressures as low as 130/80, with some other contributing factors. Some of these could be high cholesterol, a high A1C value, or things of that nature, obesity, so forth and so on. But what's important is high blood pressure is the precursor to heart attacks and strokes. COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary. Pulmonary means lungs. So these are chronic diseases that affect our ability to breathe freely. These breathing ailments affect about 16 million Americans that have been diagnosed with some type of breathing condition. It could be emphysema, it could be chronic bronchitis, or it could be asthma, just to name a few. Even more are affected but have not been diagnosed. So the number is much higher than the 16 million. According to the CDC, or Centers for Disease Control, deaths for men have trended downward over the last 20 years. From 1999 to 2019, it's gone from 57 per 100,000 to 43.3 per 100,000. And I try not to get into all of these statistics because it doesn't really mean much to people that are non-medical, but just think about one out of 100 people that you know either suffering from some of these diseases or more. So that's one of the things that I try to impress upon people. For women, they've not been so lucky because their death rates have held true for the last 20 years. So they've been hovering around 35.4 per 100,000 deaths amongst the female population. And imagine, I've got 3 daughters and a few granddaughters that I can't count right now. Diabetes mellitus. According to the American Diabetes Association, 84.1 million Americans 18 or older was diagnosed with prediabetes in 2015. 30.3 million, or just shy of 10% of the populations, are diabetic. 1.25 million of those are type 1 diabetic. That's the type of diabetes that doesn't produce insulin. The other, type 2, just doesn't process sugars. So we have this accumulation of sugar in the bloodstream. And that's why the old people say, oh, I got sugar, my sugar high. So that's what we see going on. 1.5 million Americans are diagnosed every year with diabetes. So the numbers are not trending downward. About 79,535 people died directly because of diabetes mellitus. If you combine all of the people that have contributing causes of death associated with diabetes, then the number balloons to 252,806 per year. Last is cancer. I wanted to make this short and sweet. I didn't intend for this to be comprehensive, but a couple people are here that, have had conversations with me about this one passed, and this one had testicular cancer, and that one had cervical cancer, and that one had breast cancer, and that one had testicular prostate cancer, and this one has lung cancer, and so forth and so on. So the one thing we can all agree on is cancer sucks. My older sister died of complications of breast cancer. It metastasized, and basically all cancer are aggressive, abnormal cells that think of Pac-Man. It goes to different areas and it invades and eats up cells. So it's these aggressive, abnormal cells that's in places where it doesn't supposed to be, and it eats up everything around it. Then it has a tendency to like Pac-Man, it gets these super energy pills, and then it decides to go to places like the liver or the brain or the kidneys. And once it does that, it invades the whole body because it circulates with the blood. But according to the American Cancer Society, cancer has dropped in the past 25 years. They say it's dropped 27%. Problem is, this stat is misleading because cancer is more prevalent in people of color and poor people. One could deduce, not assume, that this is because people of color and poor people have poor access to health care, or what I call the golden parachute health care. When you've got money, you're in Congress and what have you, you don't have to have pre-certification, so everything that you need is there for you. People that don't have that kind of money, people that don't have that kind of access are more likely to die from things like cancer. Another decrease, and this is really important, another reason for the decrease in those people that have died from cancer is the number of smokers has decreased over the last 25 years. Other things that increase is early detection and treatment. So we see some people that go into remission, and so they're living longer, and some people, believe it or not, still beat the odds. But it's still not good enough. In medicine, we still treat the condition. We treat the condition, we don't cure the condition or the illness. So cancer is still something we have to contend with. I didn't mean for this to be a comprehensive lecture on, life-threatening diseases or illnesses. What I meant for it to be was a wake-up call. You or somebody is dealing with some of these things. With TV, we have all of these, we're inundated with all of these commercials, with all of these drugs that give us a false sense of security. Take this pill and you'll feel better. Take this pill and so forth and so on. But the truth of the matter is, the best thing that you have working for you is lifestyle changes. I always say, simply because I can afford a 22-ounce porterhouse, do I really need it? Simply because I can buy a bottle, do I really need the whole bottle? So living in moderation is in discipline is probably the main thing. When we start to talk about cancer and these numbers decreasing, I think it's safe to assume and deduce that the numbers are going to start to increase, because now young people are vaping younger and younger. It's now looked at the same way. I take that back. It's kind of being looked at the same way smoking was looked at in the 20s, 30s, and 40s. One of the things of growing up was having a drink and a cigarette. So some of that is starting the tide is swinging back that way. Or the pendulum is swinging back towards more people smoking through vaping and things of this nature. So I think it'll be safe to deduce, not assume, that cancer is going to be on the rise. Again, this was not meant to be a comprehensive lecture on life-threatening illnesses. What this is about illnesses that we have to start dealing with as we get older. And so I wanted to pull some people coattail. I want to say something that maybe if it doesn't apply to you, it applies to somebody that you know. But more importantly, I want to challenge some people to, and myself included, because trust me, I eat more red meat, more pork than the law allows. But, I try to counterbalance that thing with going to the gym and consuming a certain amount of water and just having a healthier, active lifestyle and not just being a couch potato. On the weekends, I have a tendency to cool out and kind of relax, but that's not my norm during the week. So with this, I want to say, remember, you've got some children, you got some grandchildren, you got some loved ones, you got some people that look up to you don't even realize look up to you. That's following your lead. So do some things, make some healthy changes, little by little that you can sustain. Myself included. So don't think that I'm throwing darts at you and I'm not throwing at myself. I'm saying this because I too need to do some of these things. I too am a work in progress. I too am trying to lead a healthier lifestyle. I too am trying to set examples for my children, my grandchildren, and try to educate them on these matters. So with that, as always, I want to thank everybody for their attention. Again, before I go, I just want to remind you again, these are the 6 illnesses that are the major contributors to death. And that's number 1, heart attack. Number 2, stroke or cerebral vascular accidents or disease. Number 3, hypertension or high blood pressure. Number 4, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease or COPD, you'll hear it called, and those are things like emphysema, chronic bronchitis, asthma. Number 5 would be diabetes. Diabetes mellitus is type 2. Type 1 is a non-insulin producing diabetes, but type 2 is more prevalent. And number 6 is cancer. So again, thank you all for your attention. Thank you for your continued support. Tonight, for whatever reason, I was having some technical difficulties. Somehow, maybe I did it. So I won't throw stones, but I was recording, and for whatever reason, it wasn't projecting. It was my privacy had been changed to only me. So imagine that. I was watching myself talk. So to those people that came back and saw me online, I was here a little earlier. I was here around 7:30, and I kept trying to do the podcast. People, I can't tell you how much I appreciate, this love, how much I appreciate the support, how much I got something to say. It must be true. But I'm no more than a conduit for this to flow through. So, as always, imparting love, peace, hair grease. I love you folks because y'all make me want to keep on doing this. I'm not going to call folks out tonight. I don't know. I didn't get much feedback on that, so I don't know if you like it or not. So tonight, I'm just going to say thanks to everybody that tuned in. I appreciate it. Thanks for giving me your time. Thanks for giving me your support. Thanks for giving me your attention, especially tonight because we're more than a half hour late. As always, y'all be good. Take care of yourselves and each other. Peace.